What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a Star Wars CGC graded comic update. And I've got a nice assortment of books here with some thoughts on where they might go in terms of price. A few of them are not particularly going to change that much in price, but I thought they were really good deals. And we obviously have a lot of Star Wars content coming up next month with the new Obi-Wan series. So I'm going to cover that. I'm going to talk about the High Republic, which is in production right now, and some of the key issues that have been jumping like crazy, and a few books that I think make a lot of sense to pick up while they're really inexpensive right now, because they are going to go up. It's just a matter of time. But I'm going to start off with this one. This is a vintage book. This is the only vintage book in this whole lot, but I think it's worth talking about. I've got a few Dark Horse comics, things like that. This one, if I had seen this listed for sale, I would have instantly bought it. I thought this was a great deal. This is Star Wars number 50 from 1981, and this is a signature series. So CGC, for signed books, usually you can get books signed by actors or by the cover artists, the interior cover artists, things like that. And you can then get them graded, and the signature will be noted on the label. And in order to get the coveted yellow label, the book has to be signed by whoever's signing it in front of a CGC representative. So it's really tricky to get that yellow label there. And this one is Star Wars number 50. This is the first full comic book appearance of IG-88, the bounty hunter. So it's a pretty cool, and it's got an amazing cover. It's a pretty, minor key issue. But the main reason you want to buy this book, if you're going to get any of the vintage books, look how awesome this cover is. It's got all the main heroes there, Obi-Wan and Yoda in the background, and on the right-hand side you got Stormtroopers and Darth Vader. Just an epic cover. And this one was signed by Tom Palmer, who was one of the artists who did the cover. So it's signed by him on the front of the book, and it was graded a 9.8 by CGC, so a very high grade. So, to get any kind of vintage book like this one typically goes for $200 to $250 unsigned. And this one's signed, and it sold for $197 US or 251 Canadian dollars plus shipping. That was a steal, in my opinion. I would have paid that all day long. And as I said, if I had seen this for sale, I would have absolutely bought it. That was a great buy. A couple of other key issues within the Dark Horse run of Star Wars comics. This is one that's in my collection, and it has moved up nicely ahead of the new Ahsoka series that is coming soon, probably at the end of this year. And obviously we know that that Grand Admiral Thrawn is going to be in that series. He's already been cast. The actor has already been cast for it. And Heir to the Empire #1 by Timothy Zahn. This is the comic book adaptation of Timothy Zahn's trilogy, graded 9.8, the first comic book appearance of Grand Admiral Thrawn, as well as Mara Jade. So it's a really nice key issue. It's got a beautiful cover. I was very lucky to pick this one up last fall for a very good price, and it's gone up about 50% since I bought it. So this one sold for $1,550, and that's about the going rate right now for Heir to the Empire #1 in a 9.8 grade. Anywhere from, I'd say on the low end, about $1,400 to about $1,500 to $1,600 is about the range right there. So this is a holy grail for me. I know that for some people, this is considered a nice book, but not a holy grail. For me, it's a holy grail. And I think if you can pick it up in that price point, that's about the going rate. I was just very lucky, I think, at the timing for the book when I bought it back in October, November of last year. But just a gorgeous cover. I love that book. Next up, we've got one that I've talked about briefly, but I wanted to mention it again because I think if you find it at an auction, you can pick it up for a pretty good price. And I think this one has the potential to go up pretty well. That's Knights of the Old Republic number 31. And this is not labeled on the actual CGC label. All it says is science fiction book insert, science fiction book club insert. So there's a little insert that's supposed to be inside the book. But this is the first time that the character Squint uses the name Malak. And we all know Malak, Darth Malak. And this is the first time within comics that, the name Malak shows up. And I think that this is one that if they follow through on the rumors that there's going to be kind of a Darth series, a Darth Malak and Darth Revan, Knights of the Old Republic era, either movie or TV show on Disney Plus, which is rumored to be in production right now. I think that this book will definitely go up, and this is one that's on my short list. I'm probably going to aim to get this one sometime later this year. But if you can pick it up for this price, it sold for $183.50 on 12 bids on April 23rd. That's a good price. $200 and under is a really good price for that. And this is kind of a minor key, and we're going to talk about some of the bigger ones later. But I would look to get this one. The next issue, Knights of the Old Republic number 32, is the first full comic book appearance of Darth Malak. And it's also the origin story of Darth Revan. And that's one that's in my collection. I showed it on my channel here recently. And I think that Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic number 31 and 32, those are kind of the two minor keys. The big key, obviously, is Knights of the Old Republic number 9, which is the first full appearance of Revan. So you've got a few options there, and a few others I wanted to talk about. And this is one I've mentioned in the past. This is Star Wars Tales number 23. This is Dark Horse from March of 2005. This is the first cameo of Darth Malak and Darth Revan, and another good book. We've talked about it at length. I'm not going to belabor the point, but there's two different covers for this. You've got the artistic cover as well as a photo variant cover with Wedge Antilles on the cover. So you got Star Wars Tales 23. You got Knights of the Old Republic 9, 31, and 32. And if you get those books, or any of those books, you've got nice coverage for Darth Malak and Darth Revan. So I'd look at those, because some of those, the Knights of the Old Republic number 9 is obviously the most expensive, since it's the first full comic appearance of Revan. But these other books you can find some pretty good deals on. This one sold for $350, best offer accepted, and I think they're only going to go up if those rumors prove to be true. Speaking of Knights of the Old Republic number 9, one of them just sold here recently, April 23rd, at auction in a 9.8 grade. This is, again, one in my collection, and I was able to pick this up for quite a bit cheaper than this price. But this one sold for $1,011, and I still think that price, even at eBay prices, is a pretty good deal. This one, in January or February of this year, it sold as high as $1,500. And during the peak of the comic book market during lockdowns, this book hit $2,000 or close to it. So it's really come back down again. And I think that if you can pick it up in that $950 to kind of $1,100 range, this is a book that I fully expect, if Darth Revan makes his full live action appearance in either a movie or a comic, this book is going to go stratospheric. It's going to double in price, get back to those highs that we saw back in March or April of last year. And people are going to be saying, wow, I wish I paid that $900 to $1,000 price point for this book. So, again, full disclosure, I own this book, so I'm not trying to pump up the price on it. I'm just trying to make it clear that I fully believe that this book is going to head towards $2,000 pretty quickly if Darth Revan starts to have a big appearance within live action content. Another book that I'd take a look at sooner rather than later is Star Wars Legacy number 16. Obviously, we have the Obi-Wan series coming. But I do think that there's the potential for this book, because this is the origin of Darth Krayt. And, it's got a great Obi-Wan cover. Is there potential that we see Darth Krayt in the Obi-Wan series as kind of a side story? The main crux of the Obi-Wan series is going to be his trying to hide from the Inquisitorius. We know that. Based on the trailer, we saw the Grand Inquisitor. We saw the new character Reva, who's an Inquisitorius. We saw the fifth brother, who's another Inquisitorius. So that's going to be the main crux of the show. There's no doubt about that. Darth Vader is going to make another appearance. But I do think that there's potential that we see Darth Krayt within the Obi-Wan series, because it takes place on Tatooine. We know that now. We've seen him kind of overlooking a young Anakin at Uncle Ben, or what's his name, Beru, Aunt Beru, and Uncle Ben's little moisture farm. So, we know it's going to take place on Tatooine. So, and Darth Krayt, his main story within the Dark Horse comics takes place on Tatooine. So this is a book that is still relatively cheap right now. It jumped up to like 400-ish, and now it's come back down again. This one sold for $200. And that's a great price point. 160, I think, has been the lowest I've seen here recently for a 9.8 grade Legacy number 16. But if you can get it in that $160 to $200 range, I'd pay that all day long. And this is on my short list. I'd like to pick this up before the series. I don't know if it'll happen or not, But this is a really nice book, and it's got a fantastic cover that I think, even if Darth Crate doesn't come now, he probably will soon at some point. He's just got a great story, and it's a very iconic cover and one I'd really take a look at. Another one I've talked about in the past and that's in my collection that makes a lot of sense for the Obi-Wan series is Kanan the Last Padawan number 12. This is the first cameo appearance of the Grand Inquisitor. He makes his first full comic book appearance in Darth Vader number 6, and I believe the 2015 series. Don't quote me on that. There's several volumes for the Darth Vader series, but the Grand Inquisitor's on the cover of that one, and that one's really gone stratospheric, obviously, since we've seen the Grand Inquisitor in the teaser trailer. But this is one that a lot of people don't talk about, and it's still relatively affordable. This one sold for $160. It's still a great cover with Aira Syndulla, Kanan Jarrus, Sabine Wren, Zeb Aurelius. It's got the whole Rebels team on the cover. It's an homage cover to Kanan the Last Padawan number 1, issue number 1. So if you can pick it up for that 150-ish price point, that's a pretty good deal, and it allows you to get a Grand Inquisitor comic book without spending the same money that you'd have to spend right now for Darth Vader number 6 with the first full appearance, which is going for $350 to $400 now. Just another idea in case you're looking. And this is one I've got in my collection because I think it's a great cover, and it's nice to have another Grand Inquisitor book. Another book that I still think is just selling so low for what is in this book. This is the Rogue One adaptation, issue number 1. It's the first full comic book appearance of Jyn Erso, Saw Gerrera, Director Krennic, not to mention Andor and K2SO, which we know that series is coming later this year, or maybe next spring, I'm not sure. And the series looks incredible. I think it has the potential to be the best of the bunch, believe it or not, just based on some of the production trailers that I've seen for the show. And this book is still selling for relatively inexpensively, $157. That's less than what I paid for my copy. And I really think that if you can get it in that $150 price point, that is an absolute steal, and it's going to double in price when the Andor show comes out. Another one in my collection, courtesy of Boss Bounty, the YouTuber. He sent me this copy, and I sent it into CGC, and it got the 9.8 grade. This is Darth Vader number 25, the John Tyler Christopher action figure variant. And this one sold for $290. $290. This is the Dr. Aphra action figure variant. And again, I don't know if it's going to be anytime soon, but I do think that this book has a lot of potential. If you don't want to spend the first appearance money, which is $450 to $500, then get this book. This is a great book. It gives you that kind of action figure kind of collecting vibe to it, and it's just a fantastic book. Along that same lines, Dr. Aphra number 1. This is the first solo series for Dr. Aphra. This one sold for $230. And as I mentioned in my what to buy on eBay video, there was one, I think, for $185 to $200 in that video several weeks ago. And this one sold for $230. So I hope somebody picked that one up because that was a good deal. $230 for this is probably a little on the high side right now, given that there's been no rumors of Dr. Aphra making her live action appearance, but she's coming. And this book, the cover for this book is fantastic. You obviously got Dr. Aphra on there. You've got Black Chrysanthemum on there, as well as her 2 droids, 000 and BT-1. You can't get any better for the first solo comic book series for Dr. Aphra. It's just a no-brainer to buy and a lot cheaper than her first comic book appearance. The only one I've got is the next one I'm going to show you in a second, but this is one I absolutely want to get. I want to get this cover. And $230, I might have missed my window when I hit the bottom, but if you see this pop up at auction, try to pick it up for $180 to $200 instead of $230. This is one I've got in my collection, again, courtesy of Boss Bounty and his wonderful gift. This is the same book, Dr. Aphra number 1, but this is the John Tyler Christopher action figure variant for Black Chrysanthemum. This sold for $330. $330 for this book. So that's a big number in my opinion, probably an overpay in my opinion. I think if it goes in an auction, it would sell for closer to $200 to $250. That's just my guess. Closer to this price. It's the same book, it's just a different cover. And probably what I'd be willing to pay for it. But this is a lot more difficult to get in a 9.8 grade. There's not many of them on the census, and I just cannot thank Tim enough over at Boss Bounty for sending me a copy that managed to hit the 9.8 grade. Now, again, the comic book market is fickle. It goes in waves. And what did I say when Black Chrysanthemum made his appearance in the Book of Boba Fett show? I said, don't get FOMO. Don't overpay for a book. And at the time, this book was hitting $300 to $350. Well, look, if you waited 2 months after the end of the show, now the same book, the exact same book, sold for $128. So this is just a classic example of how the comic book market works. When everyone zigs, you got to zag. Just wait until the show is over or whatever live action content for the character is over with. Give it a month or two. Let it gestate. Let it marinate for a little while, and you can pick it up for a lot cheaper. So whoever got this one got a steal of a deal. This is price of $128.25 is less than what it was going for before Black Chrysanthemum even showed up in the Book of Boba Fett. And I would have paid this number all day long. And it's a lot better on your pocketbook than paying that $350 number or higher that it sold for during the height of the Book of Boba Fett. Another one that we've talked about as it relates to the Book of Boba Fett is Darth Maul #2. This is obviously the first full comic book appearance of Cad Bane. And we know that, this book was really, really hot. And it got up to $900 after he made his appearance in the show. Well, guess what? Now it's $340. So I paid actually more than this for this same book before he even showed up in the show. I was like, well, $400, there's no way it's going to get below that. Well, guess what? After he dies in the show, quote unquote dies, we know he's going to come back. We all know it. This book has really come back down. I saw this book get as low as $258. $258, which is a lot less than what I paid for mine. But it's bounced off those lows now to about $340. And I think that the fair market value is in that $300 to $350 range now. If you can get it for that, that's a lot better than that $950 number that somebody paid right after the Book of Boba Fett aired. So, when Cad Bane made his appearance in the Book of Boba Fett. So this is a great cover too. It's an awesome Darth Maul cover. And by the way, Darth Maul is not done. I know that there's rumors that because of some, videos that popped up of Ray Park doing some kind of illicit things on social media as it relates to things with his wife. Hey, wow, Ray, you might want to be careful about what's private and what's public when you post stuff. So there's rumors that Ray Park is going to be out as Darth Maul. But let's face it, look at that face paint. You can easily get somebody who's a really good martial artist, who you can paint up and make him look like Ray Park. And I think that Darth Maul is probably not done, especially with all the crime syndicate stuff that's going on in the Crimson Reign comic book series. It makes a lot of sense for Crimson Dawn to have a bigger presence within the live action content beyond the Solo movie. Crimson Dawn's kind of like, the Black Sun Syndicate and the Pike Syndicate that we saw in the Book of Boba Fett. These crime syndicates make perfect storylines within these live action shows on Disney Plus. So bringing back Darth Maul would certainly be a big, big thing, and I could see them doing it. Next up, we've got, I know that some of you don't like the High Republic, but I'm telling you, the High Republic is not going anywhere. They are really setting this up for a world building type of thing. There's already rumors of a Disney Plus kind of young adult show that kind of tracks the young Jedi before they become full Jedi, when they're still Padawans. Avar Kriss, Elzar Mann, and Stellan Gios. Those are kind of the big three Jedi that are apparently casting as children or young adults while they're still Padawan. And I really think that the High Republic series, you got to give it a chance, because yes, some of the writing's not great, but the stories are, in my opinion, pretty engaging. And one of the big books that I've talked about probably way more than you want to, and that's the High Republic Adventures #2, the first full appearance of the main villain, Marchion Ro. It's come back down in price. This one got up to $200 to $225. This is the standard cover. It sold for $152.50 on April 23rd. And this, again, is his first full appearance. His first cameo is in High Republic Adventures #1. I would get them now because Marchion Ro is going nowhere. They just came out with his origin story called Eye of the Storm within comics. And he's got a big future within Star Wars content. Another one that's a sneaky one that you need to take a look at is High Republic #12. I've got this one in a CGC pre-order. It's got a fantastic Lorna D cover holding holding a lightsaber. But the key for this one is this is the first cameo appearance of the Leveler, which is like a force-sensitive kind of monster that Marchion Ro unleashes on the Jedi, and the Leveler in the books kills a number of Jedi very quickly. And I do think that this book is one that you need to pick up while it's cheap, because the Leveler will make a live-action appearance at some point. It's a pretty key storyline, not only within the comics, but also it has a major role within all three novels, all three High Republic novels. So Marchion Ro and the Leveler, they're going to be here to stay, and you might as well pick this one up now. It was $70, $70 plus shipping for an epic cover. Look at that awesome cover. Again, I've got this one pre-ordered because I knew that it was going to be a hot book. I paid $55 for mine, and I'm looking forward to getting it because that is just a fantastic Lorna D cover. Another one that you need to find, if you can, is this one. I ordered 10 of these raw from my comic dealer, ANZ Comics, who I really trust. He's a great guy, and he got something like 200 of them. This is High Republic number 7, the second print. But the reason I didn't get it is because every one of them came to him with a printer error. And so he had to return all of them, and they never sent him new copies. So the number of 9.8s on the census for this book are very, very minimal, because there was a major printer error at the printer, and a lot of these were damaged. So the census for this book is going to be very low, and it also has a really dark cover. As you can see, it's got a lot of black on those edges that shows every defect. So not only do you have a black cover, but you also had the printer error. And so the number of 9.8s is going to be low. And this is also the first full comic book appearance of Darth Krall. And this is also his second cover appearance. His first cover appearance was High Republic number 7, the first print, the Mike Mayhew edition, which I do have in my collection. But I ordered a bunch of these because I knew it was going to be a hot book. And all of them had to get canceled because they were all destroyed. So this one sold for $175. I ordered 10 of them. They were $3 to $3.50. So that shows you that I was right in my thinking, but I just wasn't able to get them, unfortunately. So, and I think as a result, people know that, and they're bidding up 9.8 graded examples of this. It sold for $175. I've seen it sell for as high as $238. This book is going to continue to go up and will be more expensive than the first printing. So just keep an eye out for that one. Next up is another one that I've got on pre-order. I hope it gets here. I hope that the guy I pre-order it from is legit, because this one has gone stratospheric. It's sold as high as $320. This one sold for $260 at an auction, and that's War of the Bounty Hunters, Jabba the Hutt number 1. This is the 1 in 25 Iban Cello variant. This is the first full comic book appearance of the bounty hunter Diva Lompop, and the market knows something. The market knows something because this book has really been going up, and clearly the market knows something. There's somebody that knows that this character is going to make an appearance within live action content. It's been steadily going up. It's an awesome cover. It's one I'd really look at. If you can't afford this one, then just get one of the standard covers. You can get one of the standard covers for under $100 right now, and I think it's a good pickup. Next up, to finish off the video, I wanted to talk about these Sprouse variants. Historically, the Sprouse 50th anniversary Lucasfilm covers, they don't correlate to what's inside the actual book. And they have never been highly collected until now, because Chris Sprouse very wisely decided to put the Mandalorian and Grogu on the cover of Darth Vader number 20. Again, this is the first printing, the gold first printing. There's also a second print silver Beskar armor version of this book. But these Sprouse variants, and there's a bunch still coming I'm going to talk about, these Sprouse variants are going to go up, and you need to take a look at them. But this one sold for $130. You could have picked it up on New Comic Book Day for $4, and they're all going to continue to go up. This is one I've got that's being pressed right now. This is another Sprouse variant, Darth Vader number 21. But this is the first appearance in comics, and at least the cover, of Moff Gideon as well as the Dark Troopers. It's an epic cover. I think I bought 10 of them, and I'm getting impressed right now. And this one sold for $100. So plus, after shipping, it's a little over $100. So the market's saying that these are worth something. Again, it's not interior comic appearance for these characters within The Mandalorian. It's just the covers. but the covers are still collectible, and especially when they're graded anyway. Another one, this is the first cover of Grief Karga, as well as the blue fish guy. Mithril. Mithril's his name. So it's the first cover for those guys. That one sold for $93. Now he also has a few others coming. He's got one coming for the Bad Batch characters. There's been a few others that you want to take a look at. So just keep in mind that it doesn't include them in the comics, but it's just the covers. But given that they're $3 or $4, it's a no-brainer to pick up a few of them at least, given how inexpensive they are and how new they are. And this was Star Wars Bounty Hunters number 21. So anyway, just some ideas for you guys. It gives you a little snapshot on what the 9.8 market for Star Wars comics are doing. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll be back soon.